Hurrah! Go cold right now, so why not find a new cozy spot to relax this winter? Mzansi's got you covered with the most unforgettable warm experiences. Get a hot stone massage at your favorite spot. Take pictures at Mzansi's most iconic landmarks. #travel goals. Whatever you choose to do this winter, find your warmth in your hood on shotleft.co.za. After all, it's your country. Enjoy it, because nothing's more fun than a shot left. Remember, wear a mask, sanitize, and always social distance. #TravelWise Mzansi.
702.
The Newsmaker of the Day with John Perlman.
Right, let's focus our attention now on something that happened a long time ago, but certainly has consequences now. Bantu Holomisa in 1996 was the Deputy Minister of Environment and Tourism. He gave testimony at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. He spoke about corruption in the former Transkei. He named Stella Sigcau, who was a prominent leader at that time. He named Chief Mantazima, also a prominent figure in Transkei politics. And he named Sol Kerzner, the head of Sun International. He spoke about corruption, and for his pains, he was out of cabinet very, very quickly, and soon after that expelled from the African National Congress. And he joins us now to engage, I suppose, in a what might have been conversation about whether the ANC's breakneck, reckless rush down the road of corruption might have been avoided way back when, 25 years ago. General Holomisa, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to our listeners. And indeed, it's been a long journey. And what I'm happy about is that I've been occupying the crease since
yes.
then. And I've been hitting 4s and 6s. And I think I am still fit to bet for some few hours or so.
So, General, let me ask you, at the time when this was happening around you, did you get a sense that in your desire to raise issues of corruption in the country, you had support within the African National Congress, or were there already worrying signs that this was a culture that was starting to take root in the party with which you'd become involved?
To be honest with you, I was a member of the NEC of the ANC, as you know.
Yes.
In Bloemfontein, I received the most votes in their National Congress conference, and then I qualified to be a member of the NEC. And at the NEC, the leadership at the time encouraged us to promote the TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission, by going there to narrate stories. And I found an opportunity to go and address the issue of the then Transkei, the abortive coup of Transkei, where the military soldiers, the soldiers of the then Transkei Defense Force, lost their lives. And then I went there to ask the Commission of Inquiry, Bishop Tutu's commission, to compensate the families of those deceased soldiers who were killed in an abortive coup, which was backed by Pretoria against us. And in doing so, I made a reference. I had to give a background. What were the circumstances which led to us being in charge of Transkei? So I said, as a result of the commissions of inquiry on corruption in Transkei, people had anxiety because the top leadership was swimming in corruption. And to make things worse, we got documents which showed that Sol Kerzner transferred 2 million rands to Mr. House in Elliot, if I'm not mistaken, and then Mr. House transferred to Bank of Transkei in the account of Chief George Mantazima. And then Chief George Mantazima signed 50,000 for his cabinet in exchange for an exclusive gambling rights for Sol Kerzner. So I made a reference to say Chief George Mantazima got so much. These are the ministers, the cabinet. Unfortunately, unbeknown to me, my sin was to mention the name of Stella Sigcau. And then the ANC said, I'm accusing Stella Sigcau of corrupt. I said, no, this is a reference point. So I said, I must apologize. Madiba says, I must apologize. And I said, never. I cannot do that because I referred to a historical event which took place. But little did I know that even they themselves were already in the bag of Sol Kerzner. So when they tried to send me to a DC, I said, but you ANC, you don't qualify to discipline me because Sol Kerzner is a common denominator between the former Transkei cabinet and yourself.
Yes.
He has thrown death days for you. He has also supported you in the elections. So you cannot discipline me. Let us have an independent person to do this disciplinary hearing.
So, General Holomisa, just to clarify this, so Stella Sigcau at that point was the Minister for Public Enterprises in Nelson Mandela's first cabinet. Was this a message from the ANC to say that anybody who ever raises issues of corruption within the ANC will be bringing the ANC into disrepute and therefore never should do that? Was that in essence the message being delivered to you way back in 25 years ago?
The ANC has never said so in so many words.
Yes.
But that was the interpretation of many analysts. But I didn't care a damn about that because when they said I must apologize, I said, you can go jump or I must withdraw what I have said. I said, it's a historical event. If you're not happy, Madiba, I'm ready. You can take me out of your cabinet or even to the movement for that matter. So I'm not going to beg you. But if you think that Holomisa, you have finished him because of this, I will stand on my two both feet. I don't care a damn about this. I'm still here.
I'm going to come back to our guest, General Bantu Holomisa, in just a moment because I want to look at the next thing, the updates. Let's get back to our conversation with General Bantu Holomisa. General, how deeply entrenched within the ANC at that moment do you think was a tolerance for corruption within its ranks?
No, it was not clear at that stage. And Sol Kerzner was just an isolated issue in 1994.
Right.
1996. Where we began to raise some eyebrows was the issue of Sarafina 2 in 1996. And if you still remember, Madiba was asked in 1996, after he finished 100 days having signed the new constitution, he was asked one question by the media. They said to him, of the things you have done wrong, which ones would you cite in your first 100 days after you have signed the constitution? The issue of Bantu Holomisa and that of Sarafina too.
Yes.
I don't think that the African National Congress handled that matter well. So that was 8 days after I was expelled. And then I remember I went to see him in his house in Kuno. And then I said to him, when I came in then there was a court papers which I was challenging my expulsion. And then I said to him, that was 8 days after I've left the ANC, I said to him, Tata, does that statement of yours saying my issue was not handled properly mean that you admit that you were wrong, the ANC was not wrong? Well, Bantu, the ANC is still, the ANC leadership is still angry. And then I said, does that include you?
Yes.
But immediately that I said, Daddy, because of what you have said publicly, that my issue was not handled properly, I'm here to tell you that court case I was challenging, urgent application, I was challenging you. I've come here to say, please, let the bygones be the bygones.
Right.
I'm no longer going to take this case, but we can continue eating stamp and mealies and meat together. But the ANC have accepted the expulsion.
So just for listeners who may be younger or don't remember Sarafina, to April 1995, and Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, then serving as health minister, awarded a 14.27 million contract to Mbongeni Ngema to do a musical which would have an anti-AIDS message. The musical was never hit the stage, and the money was considered to have been wasted and squandered. Do you think, General Holomisa, that things then accelerated from that it became a standard practice in the ANC that even if people did things like that, you couldn't criticize them, and more importantly, you couldn't act against them? You're saying that actually began under Nelson Mandela?
Well, of course, as you know, the major scandal was the arms deal which followed that. And it turned out that some comrades, the Shabu Sheikh, he went to, that's where this thing of the ANC wanting to form front companies. He went to ask Madiba and Deputy President Mbeki,
yes,
and former President Zuma, who were top members of the top six. We went to ask them to have shares in the arms deal as ANC. Madiba and President Thabo Mbeki rejected that outright.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, he went away and formed Nkobi Holdings, using the name of Nkobi, the former Treasurer General of the ANC.
Right.
And the rest of these things like Chancellor House, Tebe Investment, Bato Trust, the Bosasa, which was run by Women's League of the ANC, and so on and so on. Then when you look back now, you begin to say, these guys took a decision to say we're going to form these front companies,
yes,
investment companies, but we will give them business from the state so that they can sustain the movement. So this is an institutionalized corruption. You can't give it other name.
So the big question, I suppose, now would be what the ANC does next. One of our listeners has a question in that regard.
Hello?
Afternoon, John. If I understood you correctly, you're going to be having an interview with Bantu Holomisa about raising corruption so many years ago. Please ask him, in his humble opinion, who should be the one taking over from Cyril Ramaphosa. Let's just, for argument's sake, say that it is the ANC that will win the next elections. I don't think there's anyone in the ANC that can be our next president. I don't think anyone in the EFF that can be our next president. And I don't think the DA has got strong candidates at the moment either. So, ask him what his opinion is on who should be the next president of this country after Cyril.
Okay, there's the question. General Holomisa, last word from you on that.
It is unfortunate that I have not applied my mind in the appointment of who would be the next president after Cyril Ramaphosa, given that I've got only 2 seats in parliament. That's the least thing I can worry myself about. Unless I had at least resources to contest UDM to contest for such position. But the truth of the matter is that South Africa of tomorrow should be run through coalitions at national level if you want stability.
Thank you very much. General Bantu Holomisa, UDM leader, the reason we spoke to him today, 25 years ago today, he lost his position in Nelson Mandela's cabinet. He was eventually expelled from the ANC, and we asked him to come along so we could, I suppose, track timelines of the corruption that has absolutely gripped the African National Congress and even its firmest supporters, or many of them at least. Well, some of its firmest supporters, let me frame it precisely and correctly, would say this is something they are really battling to get out of the system. So we thought we'd dig, look for some roots and see what we come up with. Fascinating conversation.
Hey, hurrah! Go cold right now. So why not find a new cozy spot to relax this winter? Mzansi's got you covered with the most unforgettable warm experiences. Get a hot stone massage at your favorite spot. Take pictures at Mzansi's most iconic landmarks. # travel goals. Whatever you choose to do this winter, find your warmth in your hood on shotleft.co.za. After all, it's your country. Enjoy it, because nothing's more fun than a shot left. Remember, wear a mask, sanitize, and always social distance. # TravelWiseMzansi.